To install your cleats on your clipless pedal shoes, you're first going to find the widest part of the shoe, and that's going to be the dead center of the cleat. Go ahead and lay your cleat on there. You can use a medium strength Loctite on the bolts to keep them from coming loose. Tighten them down just a little bit, just so now that we can move the cleat around. And you want it centered left to right, and then again you want it basically in the widest part of the shoe. Once you've found the good spot, tighten it down, and after a couple good rides you might want to go back and check these bolts again. Once you've got your cleat mounted, go ahead and check it. Make sure that it clips in. Alright, there are some shoes out there that the tread right next to the cleat will interfere with you clipping in. You can take a razor blade and just cut away a little bit of the rubber. You can also use a Dremel with a grinding bit on it. Most pedals have a spring tension adjustment on the side, and this basically adjusts how easy or hard it is to get in and out. When you go to replace your seat post, you got to make sure that you've got the exact size. They come in all kinds of different diameters. Most seat posts have them printed on the seat post itself. If you're replacing a post that you don't have one, just take some calipers and you just want the inside diameter of the seat tube, and take that down to your bike shop and they'll match you up with a post. To remove the seat off the post, you're going to just need an Allen wrench. You're just going to go ahead and loosen the clamp bolt of the seat. Go ahead and slide the seat off the rails. Now take your new seat, slide it in between the clamp of the seat post. If you're not sure which direction the post goes, you always want the bolt in the back. And when you tighten this down, you're actually just going to leave it somewhat snug. You're going to make your final seat post adjustment on the actual bike itself. Before inserting your seat post into the bike, be sure to grease the seat tube real well. Now if you are running a carbon fiber seat post, you don't want to use any grease at all. If it's a titanium seat post, you want to make sure to use a product called Tie Prep. This will keep it from seizing in the seat tube. Now if the frame materials are the same as I described, you do the same thing. Titanium frame, use Tie Prep. Carbon frame, run it dry. Install the seat and post. Once installed, we're going to go ahead and adjust the seat. We've got two adjustments on this seat. We've got the angle of the saddle, and then we also have front and back. Now generally you want about the center of the seat to be center of the post, and as far as the angle goes, from the front and the back of the seat you want it about parallel to the ground. Now that's just a starting point. It is preference. That's usually one of the more comfortable positions of a seat. Tighten it down. Alright, now we're going to adjust the seat height. Now this is very important because you don't want to hurt your knees. You're going to go ahead and sit on the bike, and the idea is when you have one foot all the way at the very bottom, you want your knee just slightly bent. If you're doing some real technical, maybe downhill riding, it wouldn't be a bad idea to lower the seat a little bit just for safety wise. If you're having a problem with your seat post slipping, what you want to do is take it out and clean the seat tube really good, as well as the seat post, and go ahead and apply some fresh grease, or if it's titanium, some anti-seize, and that should help with the slipping. If you're fixing a flat, or if you're just installing new tires, you're going to need a set of tire levers, preferably plastic so it doesn't hurt the rim. An air source such as a floor pump, hand pump works well, and a CO2 gun works good. A spare tube just in case. A patch kit. If it's a tubeless tire and wheel, you can get a tubeless tire patch, and I'd recommend using some sealant. And rim strips, just in case your rim strips are dry rotted and cracked. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take our tire lever and we're going to insert it underneath the tire bead, just a little bit past the valve. And you're going to go ahead and pry the tire bead off the rim, and if it's real tight you can clip the tire lever to the spoke. You can take another tire lever right next to it and pry the bead over. And now you should be able to slide the tire lever around, pulling the bead off. Once you've got half the tire off, go ahead and pull the tube out. Now you can take the rest of the tire off. Now we're ready to inspect the rim. First thing you're going to look at is make sure that the ends of the spokes are all covered. There's a part called a rim strip, covers all the ends. If I pull this off, you can see what it looks like underneath. Make sure none of these holes are exposed. To repair a tube, you're going to first have to find what caused it. Air it up about 2 to 3 times its original size. If it's a big hole, it'll be pretty obvious the air will come out pretty fast. If you're not finding anything, you can submerge the tube in some soapy water and look for some bubbles to come out. It might help to take a marker and mark where the hole is. Now you're ready to patch it. And go ahead and take some sandpaper, and we're going to scuff the area real well. Make it rough so the patch sticks real well. Make sure it's clean. We're going to take the glue, and we're going to go ahead and apply just a thin layer, a little bit larger than the size of the patch. You're going to want to wait for that to completely dry, have like a dull look before you apply the patch. We'll let that sit. Now we're going to check the tire. Go ahead and run your hand along the inside. At the same time, look at the outside and make sure there's nothing poking in the tire. If there's any big tears or cuts in the side of the tire, I'd recommend replacing the tire. If you see a thorn, you can take some small needle nose pliers and try to pull it out. If that doesn't work, any sharp object such as a knife, you can take a spoke and flatten it down to pull thorns out. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and put that patch on. Looks like it's nice and dry. I'm going to peel a patch, stick it on the tube, rub it real well, and that's it. We're ready to go. Another way to repair a tube, and also a great preventive, is tire sealant. You can inject this into Schrader style valve tubes. What you do is you're going to take a valve core tool, you're going to insert it into the valve, you're going to go ahead and unscrew the valve, and it'll come out. You're going to take the tire sealant and go ahead and pour it into the tube. There's 2 types of valves found on bicycles. You've got your standard Schrader valve, just like a car. You just place the chuck on top and it'll inflate the tire. And then you've got a Presto valve. It's a real skinny valve. To use it, you unscrew the top part just till it stops. Sometimes I tap